This is the biggest story unfolding before their eyes.
Surrounded by friggin' UFOs.
Of a UFO battle in orbit around Earth.
I believe that's 0428.
UFOs in our ancient past. There's definitely a connection through physical evidence and first-hand witness sightings of a presence all throughout our ancient past. Were UFOs with us? Well, I think the facts will change your mind once we start to look through our ancient history. I previously did a video about our real ancient past, featuring Graham Hancock and his Netflix series.
There's an almost instant sea level rise.
And I do believe through Graham Hancock's evidence that there was an ancient civilization or ancient civilizations. So here's some historical documentation from figures throughout our ancient past, showing that the phenomenon does exist. In 1803, a round vessel drifted ashore on the Japanese coast. Supposedly, a woman emerged carrying a box marked with mysterious writing. The story of Utsurabun, or the Hollow Ship, in the province of Hitachi is found in many records of the Edo period, 1603 to 1868. You can see the recounted document as if it was a hieroglyphic drawing describing an event that happened that couldn't be explained. You can see the intricate detail in the drawing of the UFO and the woman with the box trying to symbolize what might have happened in this event. But I 100% think it was an early UFO encounter, and at the time of this encounter, this was the only language they could describe the encounter with. From the Hiroko Shi Records of Castaways by an unknown author, the text describes the woman as being around 18 to 20 years of age, well dressed and beautiful. Her face is pale, her eyebrows and hair is red. It is impossible to communicate with her, so it is unclear where she is from. She holds a plain wooden box as though it was very important to her, and she keeps her distance. What was in that wooden box? And what were the mysterious markings saying on the side of the UFO? This case was 140 years before the first American documented UFO sighting. You can see the recounted document as if it was a hieroglyphic drawing describing an event that happened that couldn't be explained. You can see the intricate detail in the drawing of the UFO and the woman with the box trying to symbolize what might have happened in this event. But I 100% think it was an early UFO encounter, and at the time of this encounter, this was the only language they could describe the encounter with. In 1561, over the German city of Nuremberg, residents saw what they described as some sort of aerial battle taking place upon them, complete with the erratic dances of orbs, crosses and cylinders, and the appearance of a large and mysterious black arrow-shaped object, all followed by a crash landing somewhere beyond the city limits. Later that month, local artist Hans Glaser produced a woodcut engraving of the scene and a detailed description of what was witnessed. Don't them shapes sound familiar? The exact shapes that have been recorded all throughout the history of UFOs and even featured in movies like Close Encounters of the Third Kind. In Carlo Crivelli's famous artwork, Mary is supposed to be receiving an announcement from the Christian Messiah, except Mary looks like she's receiving some sort of beam from an extraterrestrial vehicle. It looks very consistent with descriptions of modern-day alien abductions.
They had 4.5 feet tall, above the ground, very bright, translucent at points. You couldn't see the lower extremities, but you could clearly see the face, and it wasn't human. But it seemed like it was either a projection, or it was separate from us, or it was protected from us. It was, but it was alive.
And it just gets too obvious here. One of Remembrandt's last pupils, De Gelder, reconstructed a biblical scene where Jesus is ascending into the heavens. But it just looks like a classic UFO abduction from a 1970s sci-fi movie, and also from all the witness abduction stories. Now, this artwork was painted in 1710. And don't worry, thousands of years before then, there were also mysteries occurring throughout our history that might relate back to the alien phenomenon. I'm talking about our real ancient history, megalithic sites that are still unexplained today, megalithic sites that are covered up because we can't fit it in with our historical timeline, outrageous statements about things such as the Egyptian pyramids and how they were built with chisels and primitive tools. It's absolutely outrageous to believe that, and to think that our universities and scholars actually believe them complete lies is very scary for the future of humanity. So just some quick facts that I've recently discovered about our ancient history. Number 1, do you know that stone materials can't actually be critically carbon dated to a perfect date because we don't have the technology to record that? So how did we record when the pyramids were built supposedly 2,500 years ago, when we don't have the carbon dating technology to carbon date it? It shows that most of our ancient history is put on a historical timeline that fits the narrative of the mainstream and religious circles.
When we talk about like carbon dating, they're not carbon dating stone. No. They really don't know. So right. Even when they go back to ancient Egypt and they say, oh, we date the pyramids construction to 2,500 BC, it's a fucking guess.
That's what I think.
It's a guess.
It really is.
It has to be a guess. It really can't be anything other than a guess. They can measure organic matter. They can measure stuff that's in between the stones, but we have no idea when that was put there. If something existed for tens of thousands of years before we're dating it, we really wouldn't know. We would have evidence that of course people would still live there. Of course people would still live around them. And we would have evidence that those people had left stuff behind that was a certain age, but we have zero evidence as to how old those things are.
Right. That's right.
And when I found that out, I was baffled.
And unlike you, Joe, I'm actually not baffled, because just like the UFO subject, it's a cover-up. The cover-up of our real ancient past and the lost civilization. The World Economic Forum has been constantly covering up new findings and taking control of excavation sites, as an example, Göbekli Tepe. The same majority shareholders that have stake in the game of the military-industrial complex also have ties with the World Economic Forum. So you decide for yourself, connect the dots up. Can't you see it? Our ancient history says it all. It's right there for us.